Welcome to Seven Figures and Beyond with your host, Greg Shuey, your e-commerce marketing expert.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 11 of the Seven Figures and Beyond podcast. After some technical difficulties this morning with getting everyone online and headphones, we are off and running. So I'm super stoked about that. In our episode yesterday, we had a really good discussion about influencer marketing. We talked a little bit about TikTok influencers and driving brand awareness and growth there. And that really kind of dovetails back into what we're going to be talking about today. And as most of you know, I really approach influencer marketing pretty cautiously. So I was really pleased about some of the takeaways that I got out of that discussion. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, I recommend you do so. So today we're going to be talking with Josh and Jenna from Graceful by Design. They have a really cool business. If you haven't heard of them, go search for them on Google, take a look at their products. They sell really, really cool workbooks, planners, charts, etc. They're just awesome. Today we're going to be talking about TikTok shops, which from what I understand are all the rage right now. Literally, I can't get on LinkedIn without seeing someone talking about TikTok shops. And I've had a lot of discussions around this topic with prospects and clients. Some are jazzed about it. Others are a little bit skeptical, but I believe that they are here to stay, which is why I reached out to them to have this discussion. So over the last few months, they have pivoted their efforts from Amazon and have gone all in over on their TikTok shop, and they are having a lot of success. So we're going to talk about TikTok shops, how to set them up, how to properly optimize them, and how to collaborate with creators to boost visibility and sales. Before we dive in, just want to give a little plug to them. They've also recently launched a little mini course, I believe. Is that what you're calling it? A course?
Mini course.
A mini course to help educate brand owners on how to make that jump and how to get the most out of their TikTok shop. We'll include a link to that in our show notes, but it's $97, not too expensive. So go out and get that today. I'm going to and start learning. But let's jump in. So before we jump into our questions, would both of you just take a few minutes, introduce yourselves to our listeners, and share a little bit about your personal story and how you've gotten to where you are today.
Great. Thank you for having us. So my name is Jenna.
I'm Josh.
Yeah, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So we started Graceful by Design. I started it, I guess now I feel like it's been about a year and a half. I mean, we launched it hasn't even been a year since we launched our first product on Amazon. And we do still have products on Amazon and fully enjoy it. But TikTok Shop is really where our business has taken off and grown. But I would say it's been about a year and a half since maybe almost 2 years now that I decided to jump into e-commerce. And before that, neither of us had a background in e-commerce. I had been admiring it from afar for, I feel like, the better part of a decade. And he knows that I just was waiting for life to slow down. You know, we had newborn twins and I was like, I'm going to stay home a little bit. I was a former public school teacher and before that, I was in business and marketing, and then I went back and got my master's of education. We had our kids, and I was like, okay, life will slow down. And before I knew it, and I know you're laughing because you have kids similar to our kids' age. It doesn't. It only speeds up, and I feel like we hit this breaking point that life was the craziest it ever was. Like I think newborn twins was like. I remember thinking back to that, and I was like, wow, that sounds like a rest right now, just because of everything we had going on. And I was like, if I don't do this, I'm never going to. So I dove all in. I mean, I took multiple courses and I'm like everything. And my podcasts are all learning and education about this. And I just jumped all in, and he's kind of like watching from afar, like, go ahead, you do your thing. And I was really enjoying it. But my side of it is more, I love creative thing. I'm a creative. I like creating things, designing things. A lot of the stuff that we created, are things that I've been passionate about anyways. Organization, education, those are the things that were definitely in my wheelhouse. And once we learned product research and found products that were in my area of what I had passions for in creating, that's where we really started to jump in. But I knew that I'm not the numbers person. I am definitely not the business mind as much as he is. And so when he found out there was a lot of like data analytics and all of that stuff to it, that's kind of where I like looped him in. And I was like, look at all this nerd software here. You can go into Helium 10 and study it. And he was like, all right, that's pretty cool. So
yeah, at first I wasn't invited, to be clear. But then but no, in terms of like where that parlays, like my background is a lot in math and kind of quantitative based. And so I'm not a creative at all, unless it's a spreadsheet creative when it comes to that. But so where it kind of went together well is, she really wanted to serve a certain audience, like she said, with like a certain passion, but really didn't understand. There was no real way. You didn't want to guess of like what that audience was actually looking for at the time. And so it was fun. I got to use my analytical mind to jump in and learn. And then when I was like, here's the places they are at first, she's like, I think they should be over here. And I was like, okay, but right now they're not. And she was like, okay, we'll park that one and let's do that, because it was things that she was passionate about. But you have to understand that if you really want to serve an audience, you got to go where they're going. You can't really serve an audience by telling them what to do. It doesn't really. So that's really how we kind of combine the two things. And after COVID, when like the five of us actually got to be home together, that really was addicting. And I don't know how
he flew so much.
Yeah, I mean,
consulting and
so
everything.
much flying and so much traveling and so much on the run that it was like, wow, it's really fun being able to have this time, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And now you do this full time. Stay home.
100%.
Yeah, we do it all together.
I do it 120% of the time. I found a few more hours in the day, so I just were.
Although as much as it's interesting, we thought working together would be like actually together. We really divide what we do. There are days that I've been like, hey, at the end of the day, I mean, I haven't seen, just because we're doing very different things. I homeschool our children as well, and then I work on the creative side of things. So there definitely are days that I'm like, wow, okay, let's have a husband and wife conversation, because I haven't actually said hi and how's your day? Some days.
That's awesome. I love that. Sometimes I wish my wife would come work with us and like really help move the business forward, but she has no interest. So lucky you two. I love that.
And I was invited, and I got invited.
Yeah, you did get invited eventually.
I
needed help. I needed major help with IT. So
there you go. Nice.
And business.
All right. Well, I prepared a couple of questions to just kind of guide our conversation today. Are you guys ready to get started?
Let's do
it.
Perfect. All right. So why don't we take some time here to just talk about what TikTok shops are in general? Like, what are they and why are they the next big thing for e-commerce brands?
So TikTok shop actually, I'm going to say is two different things. There's a brand and a creator side. So creators have what's called a showcase, where they are basically, ambassadors for various brands, and they can put products on their showcase, and they can earn commission on sales that come from their link, or that come from their showcase and their links in videos. And basically the TikTok shop side, the brand side, is people who have items that want to promote them and want to basically build a sales force and a sales force ambassadors of their brand. And they have their products on their shop. So the difference is showcase for creators, shop for brands.
Right.
Cool. And how do these shops, I mean, before we kind of get into the next question, how do these shops compare to Amazon? Like, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in these like, how do they compare to an Amazon? How do they compare to a direct to consumer type website?
So I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about these is that they're actually super complex. And I think that's kind of what holds people back from getting them set up, especially when you come from the world of Amazon, right? It's a completely different, it's a different beast, all of its own, but it is very simplified. So, I mean, I'll let you get into the specifics of it, but I do want to clarify that it's
easy.
It's very simple. Yes.
Yeah. And I think actually I didn't finish answering your first question about why is it the next big thing. The next big thing The reason is not complicated, but it really allows brands direct access to their audience, and it allows them to, in business outside of ecom, when you have a salesperson, but really like an ambassador, a disciple of your brand, it's far more powerful than a brand owner even pitching what they do, because it's someone that's actually using that thing or that service. Well, TikTok Shop in the social selling world in general, it really provides, instead of just a product, it provides really like the why and the like functionality first. And because the first time a user sees the product, typically it's in a video being used, and they get to understand what it is immediately, instead of looking at, no matter how fancy an image is flat on the screen. It's really, you don't necessarily know what it is till you look more. Whereas in TikTok Shop, the video is specifically of the product, and TikTok specifically is pushing content that is talking and things like that. It's not like Instagram, where it's like, create a like vintage look at our product in the mountain, scenery. It's like, that's not what it is. It's like, this is exactly how it's used and what I like about it and things like that. So social selling in general, where it is more interactive, there's comments, responses, all those types of things. And then as the brand, we're right there too. We're answering questions or comments when customers purchase and leave a review. We can begin a dialogue with it. Like, in other words, we're getting feedback even on product development from our customers in TikTok Shop, right? Like, that is really the to us why it's the next big thing. Is it's truly a way for smaller brands to interact realistically. Like, we're the ones doing it. We don't have like a team of customer service people, reaching out to people. It's like, oh, Jen, this person thinks this or this. What about this idea? We got one yesterday. We were like, definitely never thought of that. That is why I think it's the future, and why I think Amazon's trying to build their influencer program now. Walmart is actually adding one. They just hired someone to run that. And so I think it's real. And Flip Shop, which is something we're, working on as well. Like, those types of platforms where the social selling is taking the front, the audience and what the products do is taking the forefront, to me, is the future of e-commerce.
I love it. And it probably, again, I don't have the data behind it, but just keeping everything in platform as well, right? It's just very consistent. And I would imagine conversion rates are better than trying to take them off platform to a D2C website and trying to convert them there. It just, the ecosystem in the community, I can imagine it's just huge.
Well, it's interesting you said that. One of the things that I found was surprising with some of our like more viral videos, there are plenty of people that buy directly on the platform. But I thought what was really interesting with some of our viral videos is that people saw it on TikTok, because we could tell from the timing, and then would go to purchase on our website or Amazon. So we had sales increase on each of those platforms, because that must be where they're comfortable buying. For some of them, majority of it was on TikTok, but I found that really interesting, that when we'd have a viral video and a spike, it would affect the other platforms too, just preference of the buyer.
Which is why, to me, there's no reason for an e-com brand to not be there in some fashion.
Yeah.
Because we noticed when we use Helium-10 for our like data research, and we noticed that we were able, after our first viral video, like a month later, as the data was all coming out, like, the title on our product on TikTok Shop as it appears was a search term that actually like had enough volume on Amazon that is, and so then you really connect the dots, and you're like, okay, if you're trying to organically rank on other platforms and people are typing in exactly what's the name of your product, it starts to influence, what you name the product and how you communicate what it is. And that is a very interesting observation that we did not necessarily expect.
I mean, especially from a small brand like ours, we only launched our first products
in July.
So for someone to be searching us, it was because of the viral videos.
That's cool. And that makes sense that they would trickle over to Amazon. I call it the Amazon effect. We see it with D2C as well, just right through the website is, we've trained people to go to Amazon to see if it's there, if it's cheaper, if it's got free 2-day shipping, right? And so,
Right.
Which
Exactly.
we do not have our product priced differently on different platforms, because regardless of if one maybe would impulse buy and pay a little more, it's like, no, look, our product is what it is across platforms. It's not trying to like benefit someone finding it somewhere.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. Cool. All right. So when you decided, you needed to take a look at this and potentially, move the brand over and go all in on TikTok, was this shift driven by data, or did you just see an opportunity to jump on a trend and ride it like a rocket ship? Like, maybe you can share with us what you're seeing from a revenue breakdown before and after the shift, and just some data points around these decisions that you made.
I mean, I'll let you do the numbers for sure, but I would say it's definitely both with us and partly our personality. But we went to a conference in New York and we learned about it. What was that, in October?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was definitely
that
data
she
there
didn't want to go to.
that I didn't want to go to. I was like, TikTok. I mean, I wasn't even on TikTok myself anyways. I was like, I don't do TikTok. And that again is another misconception I hear from people. And they're like, I don't know how to do TikTok. I'm like, I neither did I before this. I didn't have one.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do TikTok.
Right. Exactly. And so we get there and we heard from another Amazon small business owner who has had a lot of success. She walked us through kind of her journey, especially when it was the beta testing group of TikTok Shop. And it was just fascinating. And it was just a few hours. And now we live in Philly. So it's not even a 3-hour drive from New York City home.
Yeah.
We were just kind of soaking in. I'm sure he was taking the data, but I was like, all in. I'm like, why would we not? What is there to risk? We've made these great products. Let's test the market out. And on the drive home, the 3-hour drive home, he had us set up. Now this was early on. It takes a little bit longer now, but literally we were pulling in. I can remember, and he was like, done, let's go. And I was like, what do you mean done? And he's like, ready. Our TikTok shop is set up. Let's go. And I mean, he's fast with technology anyways, but I was like, okay. So, we still had more to learn and how to reach out to influencers and that part of it. But we are like not like dip your toe in, we're the 50-foot jump, like, let's go, like type of a.
Yeah. And so to answer your questions about the data driven and the revenue side, is what we did first is common sense, simple things. Like we looked up our competitors on TikTok Shop and none of them were there. And I was like, okay, well, the question is, have they tried it and got off the platform or just haven't tried it? And it was brand new. So they obviously hadn't tried it. So I was like, all right, so it's good to be first. And so from a revenue share standpoint, I mean, by Thanksgiving, we probably had like 120 followers. Like, again, wow. it takes some, I will definitely say the investment in time up front is there. Yeah. So even in December, you don't need followers. No, I just mean, right. It's still someone looking at your stuff, right? Like your products only get so many views as you're kind of starting to reach out to influencers and everything. So, what we saw from the creator outreach we did in November, with content that was then started to be posted in beginning of December. Christmas Day was the first time a video went like viral or like mini viral. And it was a video posted 3 weeks before. Okay. So it went organically viral 3 weeks after it was posted. And that day was the first time it actually led to December being almost as much on TikTok Shop as on Amazon, which leading up to that was 90-10 Amazon, right? Like, or maybe more.
That's 95. From a single video posted on that went viral on Christmas Day. The month was almost over.
Yes.
Wow.
The month was almost over. They sold us out in 2 days.
Whoa.
And so then you're like, whoa, this is a thing. Like, so that, because again, I was laughing because it was Christmas Day and my phone was blank. I'm like, not that many people like me enough to say Merry Christmas. Like, why is my phone? So it was just so unexpected, especially when you go and look at the post and you're like, this post was made December 3rd or 4th. Like, that doesn't, because in our minds, right, that doesn't make sense. Sure. Like, even saying it out loud now, you're like, but it's old. Like, it doesn't. But that's really where the ability to do those reach outs, as I said, that's a month.
Yeah.
So from the time we reached out, sent a sample, they got it, posted a video, and then it eventually went and took off, it was a month.
Yeah.
So, that's still some time that you have to be patient and work the system and keep that effort going.
And continuing to reach out with influencers, because I think the craziest part to us is two of our most viral videos that had the most sales on them. They're not giant influencers. I can remember connecting with influencers influencers that were 500,000, a million. And we were like, yes, they're going to take this is fantastic. And they did videos and they did okay.
Yeah.
But our Groove Books one that's like over 11 million, she has 33,000 followers, which is great, but she's not a mega influencer.
Huge. Yeah.
Right. And she has over 11 million views on that. And it really drove stuff. So I think it's amazing to me to see how quickly a video can really start to take off, and you don't know what type of an influencer it's going to be.
So we have seen, from a data perspective, right, because that's just how I try to look at things, the larger influencers, believe it or not, a lot of them aren't actually affiliates on TikTok that can have a showcase and earn commission. Believe it or not, it's still to this day. You'd be shocked at the percentage. So in other words, you could have 800,000 followers and do a viral video on TikTok Shop, but if you're not set up as an affiliate, they can't buy right from your link. So conversion will be lower naturally because they can't buy from the video, and they can't earn commission. And so it's kind of a lose-lose for them and the brand in some ways. So what we found from an observation standpoint is the 10 to 50,000 followers have much more engaged audiences on TikTok Shop from a conversion perspective. So like large influencers might have a lot of views and comments here and there and stuff, but the 10 to 50,000 really for us has been the sweet spot. Most of our influencers have been in that range, but what we've seen single most important driver is not views. It's actually comments, because people will comment, and the videos that have taken off, the creator of the content is in the comments all the time, responding, putting different things in there, tagging us like, hey, tag in, because there's a question that, is the ink non-toxic, like hop in and answer that and things. And so the creators that interact with the content is TikTok seems to reward with traffic.
Interesting. That's cool. That is really cool. Great. All right. So as I mentioned, kind of when we kick this thing off, a lot of the brands I'm talking with are, I don't know if skeptical is the right word, but cautious. Like they're like, I don't want to put a lot of time into this. I don't know, if it's going to work and if the reward's going to be there. So, as you've talked to other people, like what are some of the common misconceptions that people have about TikTok shops, and how do you overcome those?
So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, is that a lot of people are like, I don't have time for this. That's exactly it. And it's because we're used to other platforms that take a lot more time to get set up on.
Sure.
And they're a complex, especially when you come from the world of Amazon, right? Or setting up your own website and driving traffic that way. Whereas this one, as much as the setup is different, it's very, very simple compared to other ones. And then I feel like it's almost like a new language you're learning in terms of social media, but it's not social media the way that you think it is. A lot of people are like, I don't want to do lives. I don't want to show my face. I don't want to do a lot of social media myself, or, have to have someone to do lives. That's another thing that people have come to me and they're like, I don't want to do lives. I'm like, you don't have to do lives. I did lives. I tried that in the beginning because they had a promotion for new sellers that gave you ad credits. And I did that, and crickets, almost no sales.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that it's really connecting to influencers, and that takes time up front. But that time up front really changes once you start to make sales and lessens your time, right? So in the beginning, we're reaching out to influencers a lot because we haven't made sales yet, and we're trying to connect. This is our brand, and we're trying to get them to share our products. But once you show that your products are selling and making money, they come to you. And then now we're like, okay, we have to start saying no, because we only have so much inventory to manage, especially with things like our Groove Books that keep going out of stock. So it changes. It is some upfront work, and it is learning a new system. Anything new, right? There's always fear of change. And I think that was the same, for us with basically any platform we've looked at, but it is significantly less time, I would say, than people would assume.
So
And I would say the same has been said for a lot of people that just recently took our mini course. I will say that they were like, wow, I'm up, I'm running, I made my first sale, so it's.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things is one of the initial reactions. I mean, first off, if you have Shopify, they made it so easy now that you can be up and running almost
I was
immediately.
going to ask, can you
with
just
Shopify.
connect it and pull all your products over?
Yes, and
That's
actually,
awesome.
not only that, but Shopify will create you the Business Center account and ads account that you need in TikTok on the business side
That's
as well.
awesome.
It's pretty wild. And someone was like, I keep making changes on TikTok Shop and it keeps reverting. And I'm like, I know everything is in Shopify. If you change it, Shopify is going to be like, nope. But so the misconception I think there is like that one Shopify one is like an over the top one. It's so easy once you have that. But the other is things that do make a lot of sense to be concerned about, like fulfillment. Like people are like, but my inventory is at Amazon or my inventory is at a 3PL, like a different warehouse. I don't want to have to worry about doing that. And the advantage is the inventory could be at your house at Amazon or some of each or a warehouse or whatever. And TikTok fulfillment options kind of right now work into whatever works for you. So
nice.
You can fulfill from Amazon. You can fulfill from TikTok will actually currently print the label, or you have to print it. They'll buy the label for you. And so they'll provide free shipping to the customer a lot of times.
Oh, wow.
And then they'll actually create you a label and you can ship it from your house if you prefer. So like they're coming to the brand when it comes to making it easy to like get onto the platform and learn. And so inventory should not be a hold up for anyone, because no matter where it is located, they'll work with that.
Cool.
And I will say, you said that well, that TikTok wants new sellers on their platform. Yeah. They have incentives. And we have a funny story about that. We actually helped a friend get set up before we had launched our mini course, and you helped her get her system set up. And so sometimes they'll run flash sales that they are taking the cost of it, not you. They're paying the cost of the discount on your sale to get your shop going. And she was like, Josh has helped her in the background get everything set up. And she's like, why did Josh cut my price so much? And she's just like, I mean, I don't know if I can make these margins work.
She's like, yeah, why'd you do that? I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, TikTok Shop has my product 30% off. I'm like, I would not do that to you. And so there are times that TikTok Shop will provide incentives or like coupons that TikTok will fund.
I think we have one going right now that they're funding, and it's most of our products are 30% off right now, and we're not taking because they want new sellers on the platform, and that is what's kind of fun together.
It was 15 today. Like it goes back and forth,
right? So like with being with another group of small business owners, our little community that comes with it, and they see these things, it's so foreign to you when you're on another platform. You pay to play on another platform, right? And here, so they're like. So that was just kind of a funny story, but yeah, they want new sellers on their platform.
That's crazy. That's a pretty sweet incentive. Like that's awesome.
Yes.
It's a really big incentive. And I think it's because they know that there's a lot of trepidation for folks, but then they also know that when you are getting set up as a brand, look, these would be hurdles that all of us would naturally have with any platform.
Yeah.
That they're trying to like solve ahead of time, if you will, make it easy.
Cool.
Easier. Nothing's easy, but easier.
That's awesome. So my next question talked about setup. I think we've talked a lot about setup already. Like, so once you're set up, how do you optimize the shop? Are there a handful of things that you need to do in order to optimize and make sure that you can get more traction?
Two parts of it. On the actual listings, TikTok uses their AI pretty heavily to make recommendations on your bullets and your description and things like that, which again, when it's made or designed by the platform, for the most part, I take most of their advice because they're the ones with the traffic, in their hands. So the AI actually does a good job. I actually use some of it for the description on our website. I was like, that's a pretty good way to say it. So they're on the shop optimization side. I think it's, as you're putting in the products, they give some good guidance as to what they want. But then on the setup side, on the social side, I'll let Jenna talk because it's more about getting content so that when a creator or someone, before you can be totally reaching out to creators, first thing we all do on a web is go to a company's website. First thing a creator is going to do is go to your page, and they don't want to see 7-second Instagram reels. They want to see like, what is this thing? Like what is this thing that they're promoting? What's the history? Like something they want to learn about the product.
Right. So I think it's really important to get your brand story out there, or the story behind your product specifically, because when someone wants to share your products, they need to be able to go to your page and learn about it. When you initially reach out to them, it needs to be concise, impactful. You need to have your commissions, get everything that you're offering in there, but you're not really getting in your brand story there. So your option for that, they're immediately going to click on your TikTok shop. And you do not need to be someone consistently posting reels or getting lots of followers or views on yours, but you're thinking almost as the influencers are going to come to your page. And that's important. As much as customers coming to your page, it's really the influencers coming to your page. Because when I am talking about maybe our Groove handwriting workbooks that we created, how I created them, maybe a little bit about my background. I have my master's in education and a passion for learning. So I'm explaining why I created these the way that I did. And then that's something that I have even found sometimes they share that in their reels a little bit, because you're connecting with people, right? People buy from people. Now they feel like they know the brand behind this. This is a brand created by a mom. So they're talking to moms, and now you have a connection there. Maybe your product isn't for moms, but whatever it is, they need to be able to connect with your buyer and your story of your brand through your reels or information on your page. They don't have to be amazingly done. I'm not an influencer, and I have plenty of my reels that have not even 100 views, but it's really just they connect with the ability to go through your TikTok and see why you made the product, or the story behind it, or the story behind your brand. That's your main goal, is for them to be able to easily go to your page and see what about your story. And it doesn't have to be your face. I usually get that question too. It doesn't have to be your face, but maybe it's like, why you designed it this way. And that to me is another thing that they use. So for example, like these stick on any surface. They're not for magnetic, our calendar sets. And that is what a lot of the influencers have used in their videos, talking about the fact that you have a fridge that is not magnetic.
Yeah.
Yep. You're going to show it.
There you
So you have
go.
a fridge that's not magnetic. Yeah. And
sparked a whole debate. There was one video that has 6 figures of views, and all the comments are debating whether stainless steel is magnetic.
It wasn't even about our product, and it had a ton of sales, because she said, I have a stainless steel fridge and it's not magnetic. And then everybody's in her comments were like, then your fridge isn't stainless steel if it's not magnetic. And they're going back, not even about our product. And I'm like, why are our sales going up from this? So it's just details like that help sometimes to get,
to get set up. Is you have to have, that's the foundation, I would say, is you have to have the basics of the listing, and then you have to have the visual story of your brand and your products on your account.
Got it. Okay. Great. I mean, we've talked a fair amount about influencers, creators, whatever we want to call them these days, right? How do you start working with creators? Like, what does that process look like? I know you've just touched on it briefly. Maybe we can get a little bit more in depth.
Yep. So there's 2 types of collaborations that TikTok Shop provides brands. First one is an open collaboration, which is where you add products to it, and you provide a commission rate that's accessible to all creators.
Anyone.
So all creators in the TikTok affiliate world can go into their affiliate portal and see products that are available for open collaboration. Okay. So you would add all your products typically to it. And look, I would kind of blanket statement, but recommend that in an open collaboration, you're starting with at least 10% that you're offering as a commission to creators. So they go in, they can see what the product is, and then they can add it to their showcase typically if they want. Like, they don't even have to, do anything usually for permission wise. They can at least add it to their showcase and say, I like this. This is cool. Or I bought this or whatever. But the second part of the open collaboration is whether or not you offer samples. So creators can request samples if you provide them. And then they use that obviously to make content. So I would tell new brands that the biggest investment that they should make is the time to reach out to influencers and the samples to send out. Like, create a budget of samples and get them in influencers' hands, because that's what they're using to create content, right? So, and they make it really easy to send samples. The creator requests it. You'll see a request for a sample. You can look at the creator. You can see their metrics. their demographic of the people who see their content and engage with their content. You can see their performance history. How much revenue have they generated brands over the last month? Like, you can see all this detail, and you can say, oh, their audience is perfect. You can approve it, and it'll create an order, and you ship it out to the influencer. So that's open, where they can come to you and come to the product. Target is then push marketing, if you will, right? Where now you're going to influencers. You can find them in the find creator section. It's literally what it's called. So you find creators, you can search by whatever you want, interest, all these types of things. And then you can do a reach out to, you create a template. You can reach out to up to 50 at once, where you'd create a template, add a specific product, like a planner to, like we have a fitness planner. So I would create a target outreach where you put the fitness planner and you have to make a commission offer. So you'd make one at least, say if you did 10%, you do 15%. And then it'll show up with this little up arrow that says higher commission than open, like higher commission than is provided to everybody, if you will. And then it'll give you 500 characters to put a little thing in there, and it'll show the product with the discount. And then the message will go to them directly. You don't need to like be friends or anything like that. It'll send it straight to them with the offer and your little blurb and the commission, and that you can then do push marketing to creators 50 at a time that way.
Wow. Sounds like they've made it really easy, like way easier than your traditional influencer marketing. And let me make sure I understand that first one that you talked about. That almost feels like an affiliate network, where an affiliate can say, I want to work with that brand, and then request, maybe that's not the request, but you don't have to do any work. They see you, they see your product, and they're like, I want to promote that. Is that right?
Yeah. Definitely. And I would say that in the beginning, it was much more with the target, right? We're reaching out to people because we didn't have any products that people knew about or had seen sales. And I remember in the beginning thinking, wow, this is a lot of outreach. But once you have had some sales, it seems to multiply. And now we have, I don't even know how many shops that we're in right now that you can see.
There's almost 1,000 creators that have one of our products in their showcase, at least.
Right. Which is crazy to us, so it does change, but it is upfront work for sure, reaching out. But once you really have some success, then it changes and it really has both in your model.
So the first 2 months, our revenue allocation open versus target was 90% target, 10% open. So we pushed to 90% of the creators. Yeah. And now this past month, it's 90-10 the other way.
Whoa.
Right.
Whoa. And it's just happening while you're sleeping. It's just happening. That is so awesome.
It's happening, and it's still then communication, because they're coming to you and requesting a sample and such. So you still have to go through their profile. You have to make sure that they're, consistent and everything. And then you talk to them, you communicate. Usually they're people who fit your profile. You don't have to do all these demographic searches, because that's how they're finding you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's been that whole thing, to be able to see that life cycle. And then, because I promised the actual information for brands, we had about a 5% response rate. So if we sent out 50, we would have maybe 2 or 3 that would come back and say like, yeah, I'll work with you, and like request a sample, and usually 1 post content at first. Yeah. Because we were new. They can see when you reach out, it has the little product card with your listing image and says the commission, and then says how many have been sold. Shows how many have been sold. So when we reach out with Groove Books and it says 8,000 sold in 2 months, type like the info, it's a much different conversion rate in terms of them responding.
People say that looks easy because everyone's buying it. Yeah. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome. All right. Last question I have for both of you today is, like, outside of creators, what other strategies are you seeing that can be leveraged to grow your visibility in the channel?
You mean within TikTok?
Yeah. Yep.
So outside of specific creator outreach, my vote would be the TikTok promotions.
Okay.
So TikTok Shop provides campaigns, they're called. If you're a brand and you're in your dashboard, it's called a campaign on the left. And right now they just opened the spring campaign that you can go and register for. So when you click on it, there's a seller live stream, a creator live stream competition type thing that you can enter in. And then you have a certain amount of time or a certain window of time that you do lives or you do whatever. And they run traffic to you. And they definitely do. So they'll run traffic to you. You can do like live giveaways. You can do all these things. Then they'll have a video creator promotion where it's like, look, if you're just a brand that wants to create some videos, you can do that. They'll run extra traffic to them. You have to go in and register your brand for it. Yeah. And then the last one is promotions. So you go into that product campaign and you can say, I'm going to make this product 10, 15% off, something like that. And TikTok will tell you, and then we'll also provide a discount to our customers on top of your discount that we'll fund. Those to me are the things that are right there to take advantage of.
Right.
And are those like ads that you're running, like Facebook type ads?
So you can run ads, but this is TikTok campaigns where they're pushing traffic to it. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
So they'll put you in the shop tab. Like if instead of like seeing it on a video, if you go into like the TikTok shop tab, it'll have like a thing that's like spring, products you might like in the spring campaign.
Oh, cool.
Right. Yeah.
Have you guys ever tried running ads before?
Yes.
And how does that work?
So the ads platform is really easy to use. And I would say it's like Meta if it was way simpler. So you can do good targeting and things like that. Yeah. But the advantage is that you are boosting, in a way, creator content, not creating separate ads typically. So in other words, if a creator creates content, you go to them and ask permission you can't repost creator content, by the way. Like it, absolutely no. So you go to them and you say, we'd like to boost your, post because everybody wins type of thing. Yeah. They give you a code that authorizes you for a certain amount of time. When you go in, you do all the targeting and everything. And then for the actual ad, you would say authorized video, put in the code, and then you can't change a thing. You can't change the product it's promoting. You can't change the captions. You can't change a single thing, which frankly, thank goodness, because like then you have to do all this analysis on what you should change. It's not like that. It's you then run the ad,
click,
with
point,
a specific
click and
goal. Yep.
Exactly.
Simple as that. That's cool. And I would imagine that works really well, especially on the video that already get traction and just the heck out
That's
of
where
those.
you would exactly.
That's cool. Awesome. Great. Any final words of wisdom?
No, I mean, this was a great conversation. It was really nice getting to chat with you. And I feel like, I guess if I did have a word of wisdom, I would say that ask the questions instead of sitting in what you think it might be. So I do think there are a lot of misconceptions with TikTok Shop, that it is very complex or too difficult to get on, or that you need to be an influencer or spend a lot of time or learn all of these new things that are, you just don't have time for with your business. I would say ask the questions. And I would definitely say go for it. I think it's a great platform. They are very open to small business owners like us, and just don't let those misconceptions stop you from taking a little bit of time to check it out.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you both for being on today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
That's great. So on our next episode, we're going to be talking with Peter Tomasi from Salt. That's SAALT. So if you've never heard of them before, they sell reusable period care products, and their business has really taken off like a rocket ship over the last couple of years. We're going to talk specifically about e-commerce SEO. I'm an SEO guy, and so it's what I've done for 20 years, and I'm always really excited to get in and talk with brands about that. So as always, take what you've learned here, make a plan, and take massive action this year. Thanks for joining, everyone.